It's hard to believe that we're in February already, but with a new month comes a lot of new changes across the entire Virgin Voyages fleet, with some really unexpected changes that even we weren't prepared for. If we haven't met already, my name is David from VV Insider, which is a website dedicated to letting everyone know about what's happening in the world of Virgin Voyages across the ship and across the brand. So whether you're planning your first Virgin Voyage, or if you're a bit of a Virgin Voyages fan like we are, our website and our YouTube channel are here to try and help you keep up to date with all the changes and everything you'll need to know about planning your perfect Virgin Voyage. Well, we've actually been on board Resilient Lady over the past couple of weeks, so there's been a little bit of a longer gap between our last update and this one, so there's plenty to go through. So we're going to take a look at a big change to the restaurant menus across the whole fleet and why this might affect your experience when you're on board. We're also going to take a look at some changes to some itineraries that have been made, not only to itineraries this year, but next year as well. So if you have anything booked in the pipeline, you'll want to hear what those changes are. We're also going to be taking a look at the new LGBT focused programming and events that are on board and how that will contribute to there being a more inclusive experience. Then we're going to take a look a bit further into the future with some new itineraries that have been announced for longer repositioning voyages that take us all the way up to summer 2028. So if you're someone that prefers a longer voyage and planning ahead, then that's perfect for you. Then finally, as a bit of a first for Brilliant Lady, Brilliant Lady's first happenings cast are handing over to a brand new cast of folks with some familiar faces, and we're going to take a look at the cast together and see who we can find. So as I say, it's been a little while since we've been here before, so there's plenty to go through. So let's jump right in. VV Insider is the #1 resource for the latest Virgin Voyages info, guides and news. From picking the perfect cabin to booking dining, or simply just making the most of your voyage and saving money while you do it, VVinsider.com has helped thousands of sailors around the world sail smarter. Support our work by hitting subscribe and stick around to hear how you can get exclusive perks by booking directly with us. So as I say, we've actually been away on our own voyage. We were on board Resilient Lady's Western Caribbean cruise on the 24th of January. Despite some pretty hard going weather, we did actually have a fantastic time, and it was so lovely to meet so many of you viewers on board as well. It was so incredible to hear directly the really lovely feedback that you have not only for this YouTube channel, but also the website as well. So thank you so much for saying hello, and I'm sure we'll be sailing together again in the future. So let's take a look at something that we actually just missed out on. And these are the brand new menus that are available across all the restaurants in the fleet. Now, forgive me if that sounds more exciting than it really is. Really, the big change here is the removal of the Sip and Savor menu options. If you're not familiar with what the Sip and Savor menu was, it was actually an idea from Virgin Voyages to blend some chef-selected dishes with 3 paired drinks that you can order alongside each of these dishes. And this always confused sailors a little bit, and admittedly, when we first saw the Sip and Savor options, it confused us as well. So an example of this is that you may have been sitting in Razzle Dazzle, and the Sip and Savor may have been split into 3 different sections: an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And it would give you an idea of a couple of dishes you could choose from, and there would be a beverage assigned to that course. The Sip and Savor menus were available on every restaurant across the ship apart from Test Kitchen, and the prices range from $25 to $35 depending on which restaurant you were in and which beverages were linked up with that menu. And although these menu options included food items, sailors were actually free to choose whichever food items that they wanted, but this was a little bit confusing as well. We've heard a lot of feedback and experienced it in person, where sailors assumed that the food mentioned in the Sip and Savor menu were the only things you were able to order along with your drinks. So although the fixed pricing for the 3 beverages seemed like a good idea, I think Virgin Voyages have decided to part their ways with this scheme entirely. One thing to note before we go any further is that if you do enjoy the Test Kitchen pairing, so that includes the cocktails, the non-alcoholic, and the wine pairings, those do remain. They were never part of the Sip and Savor menu. They're simply pairings that are designed to go with each of the courses at the Test Kitchen, and they will continue as normal. Our current understanding is that there's no replacement planned for these Sip and Savor offers, and the new menus have been released, which obviously omit that Sip and Savor section. As far as we understand, there's no material differences with the food options on those new menus. it simply removes that sip and savor option. As ever, the best place to check the latest restaurant menus if you want to plan your dining before you head on board is vvinsider.com. We have a page dedicated to all the restaurant menus across the entire fleet of ships, and we keep them constantly up to date. We only uploaded those brand new menus only yesterday, so they're ready for you to have a gaze through whenever you like. Now, keeping those menus up to date for everyone is just one of the little jobs that we do here at VV Insider to make all of this information available to sailors across the world. If you find things like that and all the rest of the things that we do on our website useful, then the best thing that you can do to support the work that we do is to simply make your next Virgin Voyages booking through vvinsider.com. If you choose to do that, it doesn't cost you any more than it would if you just booked on the Virgin Voyages website. The only difference is that you'll have the experts connected with your booking, so we can tell you what you'll need to know before you head on board. You'll also get some incredible perks, including allowing you to collect loyalty points, what we call diamonds, on every single booking that you make with us. You can collect those diamonds up and spend them on real onboard credit on your future voyages. This is a super unique offering that nobody else in the business is doing. And like I say, it doesn't cost you any more at all. So if you'd like to connect your next booking up free of charge, then head over to vvinsider.com/book, and we have all the information that you'll need to know about making a new reservation. Or if you've booked recently within the last 30 days, you'll also find some information on that page about transferring your booking to us and still snagging those incredible perks. Moving on to some news around itineraries. So there have been some updates to some 5-night voyages in the Caribbean. This mainly affects voyages out of Miami towards the end of this year on both Brilliant Lady and Scarlet Lady. The main difference here is that some itineraries have been adjusted to include a stop in Grand Turk, in Turk and Caicos. So what does this itinerary look like now? Well, you start in Miami, you then have a sea day, which is always welcome after a first big day with PJ parties and all the rest of it. Then on the third day, you're in Grand Turk, then another sea day, and then you finish off in Bimini in the Bahamas before heading back to Miami the day after. If you head to our article on vvinsider.com, we list out all of the affected itineraries on that page, so do make sure if you're sailing at the end of this year, head over to our website to check if your sailing is on that list. Also, Resilient Lady's Halloween voyage, intended to leave on the 26th of October, has been cancelled. It's understood that this sailing has now been changed into a chartered sailing instead. Bookings are automatically being moved to a Scarlet Lady sailing instead. That Scarlet Lady sailing is heading off the day before originally planned on the 25th of October. Those that have been affected by this change have already been made aware, but there is a compensation scheme on offer. Please get in touch with your first mate or Virgin Voyages if this affects you. Now, some news which changes the lineup a little bit when you head on board with a brand new event all centered around LGBTQ+. Virgin Voyages have officially added an LGBTQ+ meeting, and it's our understanding that this follows with many other cruise lines that offer a very similar style event to those in the LGBTQ+ community. The first meetup happens around day 2 on each of the voyages. They occur at 5:30 p.m. either in the dock or the dockhouse, depending on the weather. Virgin Voyages have said that everyone in the LGBTQ+ community and allies are welcome to this event, which is designed to help people meet new people, swap stories, and enjoy a low-pressure environment to hang out. So it sounds to us very similar to the solo sailor meetup that Virgin Voyages have been offering for a while now. At least the first event will be hosted by a member of the Happenings cast, and depending on the attendance, other meetups along the voyage may also be hosted as well, while others will remain unhosted. It's worth mentioning that these type of meetups have only come about because these were traditionally arranged informally by sailors when they got on board. So for example, if you're on the Facebook group or the WhatsApp group with the cruise that you're going on, you may have seen a few people talking about arranging one of these events on board. Well, now the pressure is off the guests trying to organize such a thing, because now it's something that Virgin Voyages are offering officially, which is nice to see. It's worth mentioning as well that Virgin Voyages have made a commitment to celebrating Pride Month in June as well. I can of course speak from experience and say that sailing with Virgin Voyages is an incredibly inclusive experience. So if you are somebody in the LGBTQ+ community and have been considering Virgin Voyages for a while, I would say make the plunge. There has never been a better time than to get on board. And speaking about getting on board, there's going to be some new opportunities very soon to book some sailings that are a little bit further. So very recently, over on vvinsider.com, we announced a slew of brand new Scarlet Lady sailings which are occurring between 2027 and 2028. These include a whole host of Southern Caribbean sailings, including Halloween sailing at the end of next year. San Juan will host Scarlet Lady as her home port for 2027-2028 winter season. Just as a quick aside, after just doing a winter sailing out of Miami, I would say definitely head a little bit further south if you want a bit of better weather. So maybe these Scarlet sailings are for you if you like things to be a little bit warmer. We've released a huge amount of information about all these different itineraries for those Scarlet Lady sailings. And what's more, we've also opened up the floodgates if you want to register for pre-release for those as well. And we'll be in touch as soon as they become available. It's long been known that booking well in advance is a really good way to snag a great deal. And also you can pay in full to get 10% off your entire voyage fare, which is a discount that's only available if you're booking at least 365 days out. If the Southern Caribbean isn't calling your name and you prefer maybe a longer sailing, well, there's also some news for you too. So some itineraries have just been announced for those longer transatlantic and repositioning voyages all the way up to 2028. These new itineraries are going to be released in phases. So the first of these phases will begin on February 19th with those Scarlet Lady sailings that I was telling you about. But within that release is a transatlantic sailing. This time it's a sailing from Barcelona to San Juan on Halloween in 2027. Then on March the 5th, a new slew of itineraries will be released for Valiant Lady and Resilient Lady. This will include many Caribbean sailings out of Miami, ranging from 3 to 8 nights. But the big transatlantic to look out for in that release is a sailing from Barcelona to Miami. That is a 14-night sailing, and that's heading off on the 24th of October in 2027. Then, last but not least, there is a release for Brilliant Ladies itineraries, and these ones are all about the West Coast of America. But of course, when that West Coast adventure comes to an end, that's where we have our final repositioning cruise that we want to mention here, which is the Panama Canal crossing. This one is going from Los Angeles to Miami. This leaves Los Angeles on the 24th of October. Now we know community is really important on these longer repositioning voyages, so we've made an extra special effort to set up the Facebook groups for these particular sailings. So if you're one of those people that really enjoy those longer transatlantic voyages and you like to be kept in the know, then use the links to those Facebook groups that we manage, and we can make sure that we're with you every step of the way as you're planning those very special voyages. Now, speaking of new voyages, there's a cast of 12 very special people that are setting off on a new voyage of their own, and that is the second Happenings cast for Brilliant Lady. The inaugural Happenings cast for all of the Virgin Voyages lady ships are truly iconic. Brilliant Lady certainly is no different. If you've been on board Brilliant Lady, you'll know how incredibly fantastic the Happenings cast are on board that ship. And dare I say, these are the hardest working Happenings cast there is, simply from the sheer number of nights they've been on board. We've done a little calculation and we think that each of the Happenings cast have spent over 180 days on board that ship, which even in itself is an incredible achievement. But this Happenings cast is truly one to remember. Abby the hostess is the original hostess that launched all of the Virgin Voyages ships. And although she's not in the cast at the moment, I'll come on to that in just a second, she was part of this incredible Happenings cast on day one that also featured Dixie Crystals, the diva, who is one of the divas that we hear an incredible amount of positive feedback about, and we just absolutely love her personally. Some other incredible highlights: Faith the foodie, Oscar the charmer, Big Lou the gamer, and many, many more. We had an absolutely incredible time celebrating the launch of Brilliant Lady with all those folks last year, but now of course it's time to hand the baton over. So first, let's talk about the voyage host. Stepping in those fabulous heels, and there are two pairs of fabulous heels when it comes to the host, of course. So starting off, we have Mitchie the hostess. Now she's actually already on board Brilliant Lady because she stepped in when Abby stepped away a little bit earlier in the contract. but Michi will be on board until the 21st of March. If you've seen Michi before on these ships, she's absolutely incredible, and she's a real veteran with Virgin Voyages. She was actually part of the very, very first Happenings cast on board Scarlet Lady back in 2021. In those other set of heels, we have Cara Couture, who takes over from Dixie Crystals as the Diva. Cara is no stranger to Virgin Voyages, having been on board both Valiant Lady and Resilient Lady in the past. Then moving over to the aficionados. Starting with AV, the gamer, who's appeared on HGTV and the Drew Barrymore show in the past. We have Caleb the Charmer from the UK, Faith the Artist, not to be confused with Faith the Foodie from the previous cast. Then we have Tyler the Foodie, who was part of Scarlet Lady's 11th Happenings cast. And then another very familiar face, Katrina the Balancer, joins this cast as well. Katrina was part of the launch cast of A Valiant Lady and has really made an incredible name for herself across the Virgin Voyages brand. She's an incredibly positive and encouraging balancer, and I say that as a couch potato. She's also notable for being involved in launching the 8 Legs Run Club, which is an incredibly popular running event in the event lineup. Then finally, Brilliant Lady's second influencer and dancer cast include Adriano the Spark, Dulcie the Glow, Sabrina the Flare, Anzi the Hype, and Kayla the Bounce. They take the helm from the previous Happenings cast come February 12th and are expected to stay until the 16th of July. If you want to read any more about the entire cast, then head over to our specific page on vvinsider.com. Simply search Happenings cast and you can read all about it. One thing to mention though is that we know that Michi the hostess will be leaving partway through this contract. So if you want to catch Michi the hostess, you'll need to make sure that you're on board before the 21st of March. But that does beg the question of who will be filling those iconic heels from that date. Well, if you want to find out more, you'll just have to stay subscribed to this YouTube channel and we'll let you know as soon as we know. So that's a lot of news to get back from our trip with. But I will say it was a really incredible trip despite the weather. Whatever the weather's like in Miami or the Caribbean, even if it's horrible, it's still going to be nicer than whatever horrible weather we've got going on in the UK right now. If you're watching this from the UK, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so miserable. I know as well in the US, it's incredibly cold there as well. But look, if you're looking to get away from that horrible weather, there are ways to do it. And of course, there are much worse ways to do it than to head over to vvinsider.com/book and choose a fabulous sailing from there. If you book through there, you'll be helping support the work that we do, but you'll also get some sunshine as well. I can't guarantee the sunshine, but I can guarantee some fabulous perks and you helping us out. So as ever, double check to make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, because next week we'll be releasing another one of our Sail Smarter guides where we talk about a certain aspect of sailing with Virgin Voyages and how to nail the planning and have the best time possible. So make sure that you watch out for our video next week. Other than that, I just want to apologize for planning our travel terribly and not being around last week, but have no fear, we are back now and we're back into our weekly rhythm. So rest assured, it's good to be back and we're ready to go. So until I see you next week, happy sailing.